Hey guys, what's up? This is Blaze the Movie Fan and welcome to the final video thoughts episode of 2018. Today I will be responding to points aimed towards me in commentaries of 2018. Now don't worry, this won't be like just the robot's oral response where he was responding to almost anybody who criticized him. And I won't get pissed off or anything like that like he did in that video. In fact, I think most commentaries done on me in 2018 have been very good. However, I have some issues with some of the arguments that people have towards me in those videos. And that's why I'm gonna respond to some of those videos. Maybe I'm not gonna respond to all of them, but I will be responding to some. As I do think that those videos are good overall, I will only be interjecting once till 3 times every video. Now I'm gonna start by responding to one point that Nighthide made towards me in his commentary on my god awful Rhino rant. Yeah, looking back at it, that rant on Rhino was very fucking awful. The video is good overall, but there is one point that I have an issue with.
I'm really not sure what my final thoughts should be, considering I don't think I've ever seen Blaze use the criticism given in by the commentators who came before me.
Actually, that's where you'd be wrong. The reason why I keep making subjective points and positive points in my videos is because I don't agree that positive and subjective points are a bad thing in commentaries. But I am gonna prove to you that I really do listen to the criticism people have towards me in commentaries. Now back in 2016, many people complained about the fact that I used too many jump cuts. And I have been doing my best to cut down on that since then. And Loudon also suggested that I shouldn't have so much blank space in my videos. So I fixed that by zooming in further to my face. And there are also plenty of commentaries that I have disowned because people pointed out how fucking terrible they are. That does count as taking criticism into consideration. Now the latest example of being able to take criticism is the fact that I changed the title of my commentary series to Video Thoughts, since Lagster pointed out that I should do that. And then after that, Jonah Smith made a commentary on me. I would respond to some of his points, but I don't need to. Because Kanye already made a good commentary towards his video. And I highly recommend you check it out. A link to it is in the video description below. Now Slayer the Lowly and Blazing Hope have made a commentary on my video on stupid commentary rules. Now I could easily make a full-length commentary on that video if I wanted to. But it's obvious that we are never gonna agree on most of the points, so that will be getting us nowhere. Instead, I am only gonna address one point that Slayer lowly made. So let's dive into it, shall we?
I've exhausted my care for this. Please don't tell me this is how you plan to return. A bunch of repetitiously unscripted videos that attempt to go for the low-hanging fruits that lead you to not try. You're better than this. You're well enough aware that this isn't 2012 anymore, and yet a lot of the same arguments and tactics get brought up here that wouldn't have been out of place back then.
Also, why bring up 2012? It's not really that noteworthy year for commentaries.
Okay, I can't believe I didn't notice this while I was editing, but Blaze, the reason she brought up 2012 was to work as a comparison because TOG started around 2012, and to basically remind them that, well, 2012 comms aren't the same as comms right now.
Okay, Slayer, I know that you acknowledged in a comment that you were wrong on this, but you could easily have avoided that mistake. There are two ways you could have avoided that mistake. By reading the article on TOG Professor on the commentary community database. Another way you could have avoided that was to go over to his fucking channel. I mean seriously, if you checked his oldest videos, you can clearly see that he didn't join in 2012. I'm sorry, I know that you are aware that you made this mistake, but it's still a dumb mistake that could have been avoided. Now then, Nighthead Die did make a commentary on that particular video. Although his video is good, there is one point that I wanna address.
But Tippy, your problem isn't with Blaze's point. Your problem is with freaking Tamashi.
Okay, Slayer, it's your turn now. I get you're referencing the video Blaze made on Master TP10's video on Tamashi Hiroke, but here it doesn't fit the context of the co-op between you and Hope. In all honesty, this just feels like a reference for the sake of making a reference. Also, I just now tried to look that video in question, and it would seem that Blaze has removed it from his channel, meaning he no longer stands behind it. So in essence, what you're doing here, Slayer, is referencing a video that no longer exists. Now, that in and of itself isn't wrong, but anyone who didn't see Blaze's video, or the two videos that responded to it, are likely to be confused as to what you're talking about.
The video isn't gone from the internet, it is still on my third channel. Now you aren't wrong that I disowned the video, but it's still around. Now look, I am not gonna fault you for not knowing that. I understand that the videos that I moved to my third channel are harder to find than the videos that are on my main channel. I'm more shocked by the fact that you didn't reach out to me and talk to me. If you would have talked to me on Discord, for example, I would have gladly explained to you that the video is now on my third channel. Anyway, Schwarzenegger did a commentary on Nicholas Miranda. Now, although most of his points were aimed towards him, there are a few points that he made towards me. And as Nicholas's videos are literally unwatchable, I will be skipping his portions of the video. Trust me, I'm doing you a fucking favor.
If you were talking about Blaze the movie fan, he only brought up one example to represent all unscripted commentaries, and it wasn't even a good example. M-Scala 1 was considered to be a pretty good commentary at the time, which would imply unscripted commentaries weren't that big of an issue, even though Blaze said someone in the CC made an entire song about the contrary. That reminds me of something Hope and Slayer forgot to point out. Hey Blaze, you do know that popular doesn't mean majority, right? Before you cut off Doodle, she already said that it was typical for commentaries to be unscripted, regardless of quality. You saying that there are people who did good without a script doesn't do anything to our argument.
You completely missed my point. I never said that most commentators back in 2011 could do well unscripted. My point is that it was highly encouraged back then. Let me ask you something. What the hell was I supposed to do? I legitimately couldn't find the clip that I was looking for, since most commentaries made back in 2011 are long gone. Look, I wanted to show the clip, I really fucking did, but I couldn't. But luckily for you, I did find the clip that I was talking about just a few days ago. So here it is.
Scripting and editing, you better work on your scripting and editing!
Now I know that showing it here doesn't make the problem of my video stupid commentary rules go away. But again, this clip is incredibly fucking hard to find. And I am not even exaggerating when I say that. Most commentators active back in 2011 have deleted their videos. Either that or got suspended. Look, it's not my fault that the most of these videos are gone. It really isn't. I would have shown that clip in my original video if I could, honestly.
And don't try to use the opinion card on me. Not only is that stupid, that's also a lie, because you claim Doodle got something factually wrong, meaning in this case, you were trying to debunk her.
Did you really think I was gonna use the opinion card in response to what you said here? If you did, that just goes to show how little you actually know about me. If someone makes a point towards me, I only respond to it if I either disagree with it or think it's a bad point. And honestly, I have no reason to respond to your clip, since it is a good point. Aside from the assumption, of course. Which leads to another thing that I want to bring up. Jonah Smith and a couple of others think that I use the opinion card frequently, and I'm here to assure you that's not the case at all. The reason why I use the opinion card when describing my videos going over other videos is because the main purpose of my videos going over other videos is to give my own subjective opinion on the video. I never used the opinion card to avoid criticism or anything like that. So if you thought that I did, you're wrong. Now some of you might say that commentary is not the appropriate title for those kinds of videos. And you're right, that is why I changed the title to Video Thoughts. And again, I would like to fucking thank you all who gave me that suggestion. Alright, let me ask you a question. Aren't commentaries meant to help the creator of the original video? That's what I keep hearing commentators saying. And frankly, pointing out what the creator of the original video did right is a lot more helpful than just telling the person what he did wrong with the video. So no, saying that you agree and move on isn't pointless parroting. It does serve a purpose in the commentary. You know what the purpose is? Telling the creator of the original video what he did right.
Now I know you didn't pay attention when you first watched this, because Blazing Hope already addressed this idiotic statement.
That's not an idiotic statement in the slightest. How does pointing out positive aspects help the person in question improve? Well, it's simple, because it's fucking encouragement. If the person you're commenting on knows what they did right, that encourages them to keep on making videos. As a matter of fact, that's a lot more encouraging than just pointing out what the person did wrong. Now, a few months later, Dul Taku made a commentary on me. And you know the drill, let's just dive in.
Sports into the episode. If you don't understand why this is an issue, then you can go grow a brain cell.
Throwing in a random insult like that does make you look like a fucking moron. Now, just to clarify, I'm not saying that you are a fucking moron. I'm just saying that throwing in a random insult like that does make you look like one. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with insults and commentaries as long as there's a good reason for it.
Yeah, like, I don't have a problem with insults as long as I'm the one saying them. Are you actually for real right now? Sure, let's take out the fact that this does nothing to address Lucas's point here. Let's take out the fact that Lucas is making a pot show towards cartoons and nothing more. What the actual fuck are you trying to do here? Chastising someone for being insulting, and then proceeding to be insulting yourself, makes you a fucking hypocrite. Nowhere in your interjection was you saying that Lucas looked like a fucking moron was warranted in the slightest, as it doesn't do anything into the video instead of throw out an insult at random. The very thing you got into Lucas's case for as a bad thing!
Now, before I address this point, let me just first say that most of your problems with the video are valid. In fact, I disowned the video after realizing how fucking awful most of my points were. This is one of the very few points that I still stand by. Anyway, you might have a point if I was calling verbally a fucking moron, but I wasn't. I said that the point that he makes him look like a fucking moron. There's a huge difference between looking like a fucking moron and being one. Second, even if this was a legitimate case of hypocrisy, it really wasn't. How exactly does that invalidate my point? Telling Professor Cartoons to grow a brain cell was very uncalled for, especially since he had no legitimate reason behind his insult. He was just insulting Professor Cartoons just for the hell of it. Most of your points were god awful, but I am gonna try to give you some advice on how to improve. I am going to try. Because like I said by the beginning of the video, I want you to be seen as at least decent in the commentary community. Next time you make a commentary, instead of focusing on how subjective a point is, focus on whether it's valid or not. Because that's what you're supposed to do in a commentary.
Blaze, the point of getting onto subjective claims is that they are not valid as arguments against other people. Throughout this whole video, you have failed to understand that. Pointing out subjective claims is bringing into question the validity of using those claims to debunk points. They don't work because all it does is go, "Nuh-uh, I don't think so," and then these points proceed to chase their own tails into the endless abyss. You constantly missing and dismissing this when you argue is a problem, as it leads to a fundamental flaw of you not understanding that when you bring subjectivity to the table, the argument could potentially turn into nothing more than a shouting match with both parties screaming, "Nuh-uh," which, surprise, isn't a debate or even a discussion at the end of the day. You cannot just say, ignore subjectivity to focus on whether a point is valid or not, because you'd essentially be saying, stop focusing on whether a point is valid or not, to focus on whether a point is valid or not. You still show that you do not get the reason behind pointing out subjectivity, and it is actually death-inducing to hear.
Shit like this is exactly the reason why I made my video stupid commentary rules in the first place. First of all, I'm not dismissing anything. I just disagree with the statement that subjective points have no place in a commentary, and there's a major difference between dismissing something and disagreeing with it. Second of all, saying that subjective points are invalid by default is dumb. By your logic, every movie review on the internet must be invalid. See how stupid that sounds? Now I'm aware that you most likely just mean commentaries, but the way you worded that makes it sound like that you mean that subjective points in general are invalid. Also, have you ever heard of something called movie discussions? That's when two people argue with their subjective opinions on movies. Neither of them is trying to prove the other one objectively incorrect. They are just explaining why they personally disagree with the other person. I've had many movie discussions with my friends. By your logic, everyone who partakes in discussions like that is making invalid points.
You still show that you do not get the reason behind pointing out subjectivity, and it is actually death-inducing to hear.
Which again is fucking stupid. Now earlier this year, Kirby Star Warrior made a commentary group, which I honestly can't remember the name of. Now his commentary group is very successful, and I am very fucking happy for him since he deserves it. Kirby Star Warrior is a great commentator, and I also respect him as a person. Now in one of the group commentaries I am referenced. Now let's see what he has to say about me.
Also, acting as if your personal feelings about a rock somehow makes the target's point invalid. Hi Blaze the movie fan, how are you doing? When's the next entry in the Mario Pissing series coming out anyway?
Guest starring Micro Mavi!
Okay, I'm not gonna address the point that Kirby Star Warrior made towards the Mario Pacing series, as I know it's a joke. But I do have a problem with the other point that Kirby Star Warrior made towards me. Wanna know why? Because it's a huge misrepresentation of what my videos are actually about. Look, Kirby Star Warrior, I know that you said in the comments of the video that this is just a potshot referencing my Master TP10 commentary and nothing more. But this potshot still offends me, because it implies that I state my opinions as facts in my video thought series, which is not true in the slightest. When I argue subjective points with subjective points, I never say the person that I'm responding to is wrong. In fact, I often say that I respect their opinions, I just disagree with them. And there is a major difference between disagreeing with a point and thinking that someone is wrong. Now I'm aware that if the video is mostly subjective, it shouldn't be titled commentaries. And you know what? I agree with that. That's why I changed the title of my series to Video Thoughts. Now I will admit that I did at one point say that someone was wrong for simply having a different opinion on me. And that was my video on Master TB10. But guess what? I have never done it before or since then. Are you still pissed at me for this video? Get the fuck over it already, man. It happened 2 fucking years ago. I have disowned the video a long time ago. Alright, there is one more point that I need to address. And that is a point that Slayer the Lolly made in his video Worst Commentaries of 2018. So let's just get it the hell over with. And also, I'm gonna just come right out and say it. I have far more respect for the skeptic/political community on YouTube than I have for the commentary community. Because they don't nitpick over stupid shit such as making subjective points or agreeing.
Fun fact, just because you don't like certain arguments doesn't mean they're nitpicks. It just means that you personally don't like the arguments in question and are just calling them buzzwords to discredit them. If anything, I could call all of your interjections nitpicks and I will just be invalid as you are.
I didn't call these points nitpicks just for the hell of it. Trust me, I know what nitpick means. The reason why I call them nitpicks is because I find it pointless to get on people's cases for agreeing or making subjective points. The reason why I find it pointless is because I find it very close-minded to say a point is bad only because it's either a positive or a subjective point. What people should focus on in commentaries is if a point is valid or not. And a point isn't invalid simply because it's subjective. As I said earlier on in the video, that's fucking stupid.
You still show that you do not get the reason behind pointing out subjectivity, and it is actually death-inducing to hear.
Now Slayer, let me make one thing perfectly clear. It's fine if you disagree with me. I'm not saying that you have to agree with what I said. But don't assume that I called them nitpicks just for the hell of it when it wasn't the case at all. I will admit that I should have made it clearer in my original video, so I will give you that. Now it's time for my overall thoughts. Like I said by the beginning of the video, I think all of those videos are good for the most part. I just had a few issues with these videos. And I want to end this video by saying Happy New Year everybody. Well, you reached the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.